In this short video, I'm going to show how to visually graph this data in my spreadsheet. So continuing on from my last video, I've just got 3 different investment options. So the first one is simple interest. I invest $7,000, 5% interest per year. How much money do I have at the end of each of the first 20 years? Same thing, I've got 2 other options. These are both compound interest. This one I only invest $6,000. It also grows at 5%. It compounds monthly, so 12 times per year. The last option, I'm only starting with $4,000, but it's going to grow faster, 7% interest rate. It's only going to compound once a year. And I want to figure out, how do I compare these? Which is a better investment option? So why don't we just name these, option 1, option 2, and option 3. So how do I graph these or kind of look at this visually? Is a nice way to look at a lot of data, right? I've got 60 numbers here. Maybe looking at a picture of them will help. So I'm going to make a line graph. I'm going to select the data. So I've got the titles of each option. And I'm going to go Control-Shift down, or I could drag my mouse to select all of this data. And I'm going to go on the menu at the top, Insert Chart. Now, Google Sheets is going to guess what type of chart I want. It's guessed that a line chart makes sense for this type of data. But you could also pick a chart yourself. We really do want to look at a line chart. It shows the value of the money over time. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but as expected, simple interest, that was option 1, is a linear relation, it's a straight line, and then compound interest, the rate of increase goes up over time, so it's an exponential curve instead of just that straight line. You notice that it's done a lot of the work for me. It's given me a chart title. It's not a very good title. So I could just double click on that and say, investment options over time. It's given me an axis title. I can change that as well. I can say time in years. If I want to add a vertical axis title, I can do that here. So there's a chart editor. It says customize. You can play around with it. You can customize all these different aspects of the chart. So if I go to chart and axis titles, I can go to vertical axis title, and I can add one. I can say, investment amount, and it's in dollars. And it will add that immediately to my chart. So I can kind of customize it as I go. Again, it's a lot faster than trying to plot this by hand. You can change anything you'd like. So if I want to look at the horizontal axis and kind of drill down on that, this is from 0 to 20 years. I could maybe just look at between the 5 and 10 year period. But let's go back to between 0 and 20, or between 1 and 20 years to see how much money I have after each year. And I can look at that axis as well. So we have lots of options about things that we can do. I can change the number of grid lines. I can change the steps. So I want the axis to step by 1 instead of by 5 years. I could add, more ticks. I could add more grid lines. So you have a choice to play around with it. I can customize the series. I can change different colors. And then we can use this graph to kind of draw conclusions. So sometimes having a nice picture can help us. For example, I can see that if I want to invest for only 1 year, that simple interest option is the best. I start with the most money. And then you can look at these points of intersection, after 13 years or a little bit more than that, option 1 and 2 are equal. And then after that, option 2 is actually the best. And I bet you if we extended this even more to 30 or 40 years, option 3, I started with the least money, but I have a faster or a bigger interest rate, it's eventually going to become the most valuable. So having a picture is a nice way to see it. If I wanted to include this in an assignment or in a report that I was writing, I could just click on the whole chart. I could go Control-C to copy or edit copy, and I could just paste it into a Google Doc. So after you've made a spreadsheet, it's pretty fast to build a chart, and then we can customize it to have it look like what we want. We always want titles on our series, on our axes, and on the overall chart. And then maybe I can use that to draw a conclusion or notice something interesting. So that's how we can take data from a spreadsheet and present it as a chart. Okay, thanks for watching.